Today's topic of conversation, everybody, is it's finally happened. Sirotkin has been confirmed as the 2018 second Williams driver alongside Lance Stroll. The Russian has been in contention for this seat for a very long time, and it's looked progressively like he would get the seat as Robert Kubica's condition and lack of fundings made it almost impossible for the Pole to get a seat alongside the Canadian Lance Stroll. So obviously this is a very interesting topic of conversation because everyone pretty much under the sun wanted Kubica to get this seat. Obviously he was scheduled to race for Lotus in 2011, but after that crash in rallying was unable to do so and really looked to push and come back into the sport after testing with Renault and Williams. And Williams had pretty much put all their eggs in one basket in signing Kubica for this season, which is why Felipe Massa was not willing to renegotiate his contract and said he would retire from the sport. However, after their testing in Abu Dhabi, Williams, for whatever reason, did not see enough from Kubica to warrant him getting the seat for this season, and Sirotkin was seen by Williams as the best deal. And of course this is going to get a lot of backlash because Sirotkin comes with a lot of funds. A reported 15 million has been given to Williams by signing Sirotkin for the season. Now, like I say, I think people are going to look at that and see Williams as a paid driver team, and I think that's definitely true. Obviously Stroll comes with a lot of backing from his father, who is an extremely high shareholder within the Williams team. Sirotkin as well, as I say, come with 15 million. That's almost double what Kubica could have brought to the team. However, I don't think it's an awful lineup. You look at the other candidates that were available to Williams, Paul di Resta for example, they weren't stunning options they had available to them. You know, they didn't have any superstar drivers except Pascal Wehrlein. However, he was under the age limit that Williams needed, although Sirotkin is also under the age limit they needed, which is a bit of a dodgy dealings, but we'll let that one slip under the radar because if you've seen any other of my videos you will know how highly I rate Pascal Wehrlein. But the interesting part of Sirotkin's story is not necessarily the fact, like we say, he is a paid driver. It's the fact that if you look at his CV that the official F1 page has put up on their website, I'll put a link to it down in the description so you guys can check afterwards. It's actually not a dreadful CV, especially after 2014. So it starts off in 2011. He was crowned the Formula Bath Euro Series champion with 5 wins. I'm not aware of that series personally. So if he's becoming champion though, that's very impressive. He's 22 years of age now, so he would not have been young at all when he took that championship in 2011. 2012 he finishes 3rd in the AutoGP World Series and 5th in the Italian F3 Series. Not the best this time round, but competing in 2 series is something to be commended, I can't lie, from Sergei. 2013 though, however, finishing 9th in Formula Renault 3.5, but quite weirdly he was signed as a development driver by Sauber, and that's a bit out of the blue. Don't you agree? I think that's sort of out of nowhere, but we know he comes with a lot of funding. And then in 2014 he made his F1 debut with Sauber in Russia, his home Grand Prix. Only testing, that is, that's only testing, and then finishes 5th in Formula Renault 3.5, so not the best or sort of statistics we should be looking for a potential F1 World Champion. We then, in 2015, see he scores 1 victory and 5 podiums, but finishes 3rd in the GP2 series. Now, again, that's not amazing, but the person who won that year was Stoffel Van Dorn. 2nd was Alex Rossi, but he did beat the likes of Ollie Rowland, Pierre Gasly, Masushita, Artem Markelov, some big names that are in F2 and in F1 now, so not a bad showing from Sirotkin there. And then in 2016 he picked up 2 wins and another 3rd place in the GP2 series, and also made 2 Friday practices for Renault. So he's definitely been integrated into this F1 world for quite some time now, and so I don't see it as an awful decision by Williams. Obviously in 2017 he's done more Friday tests for Renault and more Friday tests for Williams, and even in that final test in Abu Dhabi, obviously showing that he did have the pace to be quicker than Kubica. Now Kubica has been given a role in the Williams team, which is the reserve driver, much like what Jenson Button was this season for McLaren, and many are seeing this as a move for if Sirotkin is not up to the task, or if Lance Stroll is not up to the task, then Kubica can hopefully step in and save this team from failure. Though, as I said, I am optimistic, I cannot lie. I'm buzzing in a way because this finally means the grid has been sorted for this season. We've been waiting ages. The last decision was in the final weekend of the season in November with Alfa Romeo. They were the last ones just to get their drivers lineup announced, apart from Williams obviously, and that was back last year in November, so we've been waiting ages for this to go through, but it finally has, and it's nice that it's all finished now and we can look forward to testing and look forward to my much anticipated predictions, which I have finalised today. I'm happy with my list. I'll revise it again before I bring it out, and I think there'll be a few surprises in there which you didn't suspect. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you where I think Williams are going to finish, and it's only 1 place lower than they did this year. I think they could finish 6th. Obviously that will continue the trend of, well, the downwards trend that is, of Williams since the beginning of the hybrid era. Obviously getting 3rd place in 2014 and 2015, but 2016 and 17 getting 5th place. Obviously 6th place is, like I say, the worst they've done since the beginning of the hybrid era, but with such little experience, they're now the least experienced drivers on the grid, the pairing that is. I think that would be quite impressive for Williams. I think they'll show up with a decent car. Obviously Paddy Lowe, this will be his first real chance to get a full car done by himself. I think that Mercedes engine, the gap will be much smaller this season. I think that's a given, but I think Williams has the technical capability to stay ahead of at least 4 teams. I think that's definitely a given, maybe 5 teams. I think they're definitely going to be fighting for points this season, maybe not podiums, but I think it'd be great obviously if they did. I think obviously the dream is that every team's fighting for podiums. That'd make a great season, but I think they'll definitely be up there, mid points maybe, but with the likes of McLaren and Renault pushing further up the grid this season, I think it's going to be difficult for them to do anything stunning, and so I think definitely a lot of the pressure and criticism will go on the shoulders of Sirotkin and Stroll, which I think could be unjust, especially with Stroll pulling off some absolutely stellar performances this season, especially some like in Austria going under the radar, and I think that was really unfair on the Canadian, especially with the likes of Villeneuve coming out and saying that he was awful in his first rookie season and putting a bad name for Canadians wanting to join the sport. I do not think that was the case. I think he was very inconsistent. I think that can definitely be said of him, but most drivers are. I was not impressed with Esteban Ocon in his first season. That is for Mana. I think Pascal Wehrlein did outperform him, and yet look how he's doing now at Force India. He's one of the best drivers on the grid. So sometimes you give a driver a bit of time to develop and something special can really happen. So that's my thoughts on Sirotkin joining Williams. I might do a little rundown on Robert Kubica's story tomorrow and how he finally became a Williams reserve driver, looking to maybe take a seat next season or halfway through this season. Obviously I'll be doing my predictions most likely in the next couple of days or at the weekend where they can be finally sorted out, and I'll try and do a few graphics and whatnot for that. But guys, for all your Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula E and motorsport news. As soon as it drops, I chuck out a video on this channel, so if you love motorsport and want to know news as quickly as possible, please drop a subscribe. It's very much appreciated. But as always, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.